Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Crypto Starship. Its mission, to explore new technologies, to seek out new life in the crypto universe, to boldly go where no blockchain has gone before.
Hey guys, this is Captain Eric.
And this is Derek.
And Derek, he's switched it again. We're on a roll. We got a couple more votes in this week, and we're still on the fence of what people enjoy. But I don't care. I'm still Captain Eric. And we're coming to you live from our first ever Twitch stream. Live stream, not only on Twitch, but on DLive, the decentralized Twitch, and YouTube. We're going to be live streaming this podcast from now on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday when we're online. Hopefully every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As you guys have noticed, we haven't been perfect with our schedule lately, but we're trying to get back on track.
Yeah, we're going to be at Tokenomics in Chiang Mai, Thailand next week. So we're going to record some of these live in person.
Yeah, we're going to be together, hopefully streaming in the morning in Thailand, actually. And like I mentioned in the last episode, we are starting to look at an alternate method to approaching the podcast. So one of the baselines of why Derek and I put this together is because we're just really passionate about cryptocurrency and the space, and we just wanted to have a ton of fun doing this and just putting out content for you guys. And we've been kind of overthinking it, I think, a little bit on what we're doing, and we kind of want to roll back slightly and just have fun with this podcast again. So doing the live stream, talking about what we want to talk about. If there's an interview, there's an interview, but we really are just going to do this for the fun of it and to get information out there about what we care about.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah. So today we're going to jump right into what is on everybody's mind when it comes to the crypto markets. It has been the first time in a long freaking time, or at least it feels like that. It's probably been like 5 weeks, but to the crypto world, it's been a lifetime that anything went up significantly at all.
Yep. So we went from, I think, like a $400 Ethereum to like $520 Ethereum in 24 hours.
And you could feel the enthusiasm in Derek's voice with that one, like that 120 jump. Yep. We went up. Yep.
Yep.
Derek with the energy again, smack down on the energy for the podcast. Always bringing it to the podcast, that fire. So as Derek said, we've jumped up about $100, $120 in a couple days, and things are moving forward and continue to grow over the past 24 hours with different coins continuing to see positive momentum, whether it's Ethereum, Bitcoin, or altcoins in general. We're seeing a very green board at the moment. Derek, do you see any reason why this is happening currently at this time of the year?
I think a lot of it had to do with the shorts. There were more shorts against Bitcoin than any other time in history when this happened. And so when you have that many people shorting something, so the way shorting works is you're essentially betting against the price of Bitcoin, right? You're saying, I'm betting that Bitcoin is going to go down, and you borrow a Bitcoin to sell it, and then you have to buy the Bitcoin back at some point. And if the price goes up too quickly, you're forced to rebuy the Bitcoin at a higher price and you lose money. And so people who are shorting, especially people who are shorting with leverage, so they're shorting with more money than they actually have, they can get closed out by the system, even if there's just a slight hike in price. And so because of how many people were shorting and how many people were shorting on margin, when there was even just like a 10%, 20% increase in the price, that causes a cascade to happen where people who are shorting have to buy Bitcoin in order to cover their shorts. And then as they're buying Bitcoin, that drives the price of Bitcoin up. And, that kind of creates a cascading effect where, the whole thing just kind of jumps. And then that creates a new cycle. And, that starts creating its own kind of momentum. So that's my theory. And I think that's kind of a lot of people's theory / sentiment about what's happening is very likely a lot of people who were shorting it just got wrecked. Yeah,
and now
exactly.
We're on upper momentum again. And the new cycle continues to push forward. I also think, and I've been saying this way too long, But right now, with 4 days left of tax season for Americans, there was a lot of people, I believe, in the past couple weeks that were selling off to pay off those taxes, aka myself included in that group. Not all of my stuff, but some of it to pay off taxes. So I think a lot of that momentum from a sell-off for the tax reason is coming to a close as well, as people are getting into this final weekend of selling. So there's probably a million different things that came into it, whales included, but I believe Derek's description is heavily relevant. You can see in the charts how quickly things spiked when that trigger happened. It was exponential very quickly. And I in the community around me, the energy is kind of shifted a little bit from like this sad, sappy tone of voice to kind of like a normal human being again. We're not in Lambo mode yet, or Lando world, but people are talking more positively in general.
Yeah, I think I'm still very cautious right now. I mean, obviously I'm very happy about it. But at the same time, I'm very cautious.
As you could tell earlier, Derek was very happy with the $100 raise.
I was checking my Blockfolio like every hour yesterday. But no, I mean, I think shorts getting closed out is a short-term thing, right? It's not a long-term factor. And I think right now where like Ether is above 500, Bitcoin's above 8,000, but these are still very delicate levels. So like if Ether drops down to like 470, or if Bitcoin drops back down to like 7,500, I could see it, cascading back into a crash. So I think we're not out of the waters yet. It's a little too early, I think, to celebrate. But I do notice that a few things. Number one, altcoins are starting to move again, which hasn't happened for a while. For a while, it was just like IOTA announces partnership with the city of Taiwan. Nothing happens to the price. Yeah. So now actually things are happening where EOS just went up like 40% in the last couple days, and Omisego's gone up like 30%. And yeah, it seems like altcoins are finally starting to move again. It also feels like the news in general has been getting more positive. So the EU announced that they were supporting blockchain technologies, and Yahoo just announced they're acquiring part of a Bitcoin exchange. And it just feels like a lot of the news, instead of being bearish, has switched to being more bullish. So I'm cautiously optimistic and also cautious in general.
So what you're telling me is Yahoo has moved away from trying to acquire social media giant companies like Tumblr to, man, we're really screwed. Let's get into crypto. This sounds like a great strategic plan for the company. Their CEO is doing great. I'm excited to see their stock price blow up because of this.
Did it blow up, their stock price?
I have no clue. I've learned about this 5 seconds ago when you just told me. So we should check into that. I think Yahoo is far away from ever being able to have their price blow up ever again. So if I was shorting anything outside of crypto, it would be right there. Awesome. So Derek, before we go on the podcast, you also mentioned to me that Verge had a ton of movement happening as well. And you felt like it may not be because of the news necessarily, but other factors that may play into the Verge move in general.
Yeah, so Verge is a really weird one. And I want to be a little cautious about how I talk about it, but yeah, so Verge right now has a lot of strange things happening. So the price is moving up, right? Like the price has gone up a lot over the last few days. But there's been a string of really weird incidents that's happened with Verge that has a lot of people very skittish. So I'll just talk through a little bit about some of the things that have happened. So in November and December, John McAfee tweets out about it and kind of starts the Verge train moving and starts Verge, going up. Verge announces that they're going to announce what's called a Wraith protocol, which is an update to the code, and they didn't actually launch it. So they delayed it for a long time, and then when they actually launched it, it wasn't that big of a deal. And then the developer comes out and says, "Hey, we're starting a pool. If people contribute enough money to the pool, we're going to make a big announcement." And everyone was like, "Wait, is that how announcements work?"
We're only going to do this if we get enough pooling going on to actually do it. Otherwise, we're just going to forget everything we just worked on and start on something else. From now on, you don't get any news unless you contribute to Verge pools in general. Otherwise, Verge just doesn't grow as a company. They don't do anything else anymore. They don't have any software updates. They don't push any more, push any new code to GitHub. You have to contribute to to actually see Verge change.
Right. So they raised a bunch of money, but not enough money. And then some company matched the donation value so that they hit the target, and then they didn't reveal the announcement anyway. And they said they were postponing it till April 16. And then a few days ago, their blockchain was hacked, which, like, this is really rare. Blockchains almost never get hacked. So when you see hacks, it's usually exchanges getting hacked or smart contracts getting hacked. But blockchains itself is really rare for that to get hacked. So the blockchain got hacked, and someone was able to mine free Verge basically without anybody knowing it. So a bunch of free Verge was mined because of the blockchain code. And then the developer pushed a fix without realizing that he was hard forking the entire blockchain. So it was just, and most recently this morning, the Verge developer announced that, hey, we know a bunch of money is missing from our wallet. That's because we had to pay Ledger to develop an integration for Ledger. And then the CTO of Ledger comes out and says, we don't know of anyone on our team working on Verge. And despite all of this stuff, like, a lot of the stuff is, it's very well known. It's well known on Twitter. It's well known on Reddit, and the price is still going up. So people are just like, what the hell is going on with this coin? So I don't know what's going on with this coin. I actually, because of the indicators and the signals, the technical indicators look really good. So I actually bought some a little while ago and have made some money on it. I have no faith in this project at all, just for the record. I'm still making a little bit of money on it. So yeah, just some interesting stuff going on there. I think it will probably end badly, and I don't intend to hold on to it for very long.
So just to caveat this, and we do this at the end of every episode, we are not financial advisors, and we're not giving you any suggestions on what to buy or sell. So with all this craziness going on in the community, in the market, and the bulls hoping to start running, do we see this as a sustainable situation for the crypto market? Is there any signals in your TA, Derek, or in the groups that you're listening to that continue to believe that this is positive momentum? I know the news is changing, which is a huge factor. And as we get closer to an SEC ruling on what this is overall, and actually external factors which you see to come in play, like Facebook's data issue when it comes to centralization, do we feel that the next couple months from a overall perspective of the crypto community, do we feel like we're going to be talking more positively amongst our friends and circles, or are we still going to have some bleak conversations as we continue to grind in the background and push and work on our softwares as we wait for the market to turn around?
Yeah, I mean, I think my personal opinion is we're probably not out of the woods at this point. I think a lot of it, there's a lot of products that I'm interested in that are coming out over the next few months. And I think, real products being released will be really good for the market, assuming that those really come to fruition. I also think the SEC stuff, we might not actually see any resolution there for a while. A lot of people think that the SEC, they're not actually going to write any new laws, and they're not actually going to issue any kind of ruling, but they'll just they'll make clear what their stance is based on the actions they take. So they'll based on who they sue, based on who they put in jail, we'll kind of figure it out. And which I think is actually kind of good, in the sense that there's a lot of confusion around what the regulations are right now. But what happens with laws is there's always unintended consequences, right? Like San Francisco puts in a law that says, hey, we need to prevent buildings from being more than 5 stories high, and we need to protect our historic sites. And then 50 years later, you have record high rental prices because nobody can build new buildings, and hundreds of thousands of people want to move to San Francisco to work for Google, right? So laws tend to have unintended consequences that can't be predicted. So I think what the SEC is doing is they're trying not to put any new regulations and new laws into place, and are instead just trying to clarify how existing securities laws applies to crypto, and they're doing that through their enforcement actions. So it could take a long time for us to have that stuff clear up, is what I'm trying to say. But of course, if the SEC comes out tomorrow and says, this is our stance on crypto, this is what you need to do to be in regulatory compliance, I think that's obviously a good thing. I just don't know if that's actually going to happen.
Hey, it might not happen, but we'll start to understand over time which companies are doing it right and wrong per se, according to previous laws, and kind of adapt our overall approach to that in the US at least accordingly. So I'm super excited to see how that evolves over the year. Now, Derek, let's quickly jump over to a couple things, a couple questions I have for you specifically, and I'll throw out some names as well. Just to wrap up the podcast as we come to a conclusion, are there any projects that you're working on or looking at right now? Let's start with looking at right now that you're really excited about, or at least keeping an eye on over these upcoming months as they work and develop the project?
Well, I think right now EOS is really interesting to watch because they have an airdrop coming up in the next few days, which is kind of what led to a lot of this kind of sharp increase in price. The thing that's weird about this, that's different about this particular airdrop, is that normally when you have an airdrop, people buy the token leading up to the airdrop and then they kind of dump it right afterwards. But for EOS, there's several options that allow people to short EOS. So that means that if you can predict when EOS is going to drop in price, you would be able to make money from that. So that creates a situation where people are there's kind of a shorting pressure that kind of puts it into equilibrium. So it's kind of a giant airdrop scenario that we haven't ever really seen in the markets, where the predictability, like normally you'd predict a sharp spike and a sharp drop kind of curve, and you probably can't really predict it that way this time because you have the ability to short it, which kind of changes the market dynamics. So I'm looking at that and kind of following that. As far as actual projects themselves, I think right now I'm following STK. I think they're supposed to release their Canada version sometime in the next month. WePower, which I hold a little bit of, I think is releasing. They have partnerships, and I think they should be launching in the next couple of months. And disclaimer, I don't own any STK, but I think Eric owns a bit still. Do you still own a bit of STK? Yeah, okay. You still own STK. Let's see, any other projects I'm really excited about? Those are the two that come to mind. Oh, Telcoin, which I still hold some as well, should be releasing stuff in the next, over the course of this year. They should be having a lot of telecom partnerships. So I don't know. Those are some of the projects that I'm following as far as products. As far as markets, yeah, I think EOS is the one that I'm kind of following the most.
Yeah, man. I think the main thing I'm looking at right now is Wanchain and just this incredible journey since its ICO late last year, and just seeing where it is in the market right now and how that's growing. Just following that project, it's really cool that a lot of the founders are in Austin, and we know Jack, who is based in Asia. We've met him a few times at different conferences, and just keeping my eye out on the project overall, and then just keeping my eye out on ICOdrops.com as well, and seeing what's coming down the road. I think we're seeing a lot of cool practical dApps coming out. I found one, I think it's called The Abyss, which I'm a huge gamer. I have been for my entire life. I almost went to school to create video games, and they have an entire platform to reward gamers that play games, that live stream games, and enjoy games. So I'm just not as an investment in any way, shape, or form, but just as an awesome way to bring blockchain to a big community that probably will adapt it very well, because a lot of gamers are also into blockchain. So that will help obviously facilitate community on that overall platform. So
what is it? What is The Abyss?
The Abyss is you can actually go to their website and you can download their early prototype, which is kind of like a combination of Twitch and Steam. So you can buy games with their Abyss points. You can earn Abyss points through live streaming. You can send Abyss points to individuals, and it's all within one facilitated application on the computer. And it's great. Like, do you know I have Steam on my computer? I have the Twitch client. I have other clients to kind of facilitate my gaming experience, and this brings a lot of it together and allows me to use my crypto not only to pay stuff but reward creators as well. So I'm really enjoying following their project overall, which is completely left field. I'm usually following blockchains and infrastructure plays and stuff like this, but this just has a passion point for me that I'm really excited about.
Awesome.
Nice. So guys, this is like I said earlier in the podcast, this is being live streamed right now. We're going to start doing this on a regular schedule. We're changing up the format a little bit. Derek, myself, and when Private / Lieutenant Plu can make it, He will be on the live stream as well. We'll be recording these and we'll be a lot more raw. So a lot less editing in the podcast. We're going to go right from live stream to Overcast or your podcast player near you. So you can get the podcast basically unedited, and we can produce a lot more for you and get them out a lot quicker. We'll have a video version on YouTube. We'll have a video version on DTube. The live streams will be on DLive and Twitch and YouTube as well. So you can find all this content directly on those sites. We're going to try to keep that regular schedule so that way you can participate with the Crypto Starship. And please keep giving us feedback. I know Derek and I love consumer feedback, and we love changing things up based off what people ultimately believe they enjoy and don't enjoy on the podcast. And the feedback is always extremely useful for us.
So send us an email, hello@cryptostarship.ai.
hello@cryptostarship.ai. And don't forget to visit cryptostarship.ai/resources to find all of our resources we talk about on the show. And for now, guys, I am Captain Eric.
Captain Derek, why not?
Captain Derek is back, and we are the Crypto Starship. We will see you guys next time.
The Crypto Starship is a production
Awesome. See
of
you guys next
Starship
time.
Media LLC. The contents of the show, including our videos, podcasts, and our website, are provided for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investing, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any financial, investing, trading, or life decisions based on our show. Understand that investing or trading in digital assets has potential risks involved. Before investing, make sure to do your own due diligence and consult with a professional financial advisor.